Well, we both got our glasses on. This is going to be a smart episode.
I'm trying to class it up. It was a lot. There was a lot going on last night, so
There was a lot. You ready for this?
I'm gonna give it my best shot.
We're keeping it positive so we don't like fuck up my career. So the cue is bless their heart or whatever southern charm you want to like throw at, you know.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to A Take on the Academy, the podcast where we celebrate the Oscars, question the Oscars, research the Oscars, and most importantly, respect the Oscars. Well, at least the Academy. We'll get into it. I'm your host, Matt Sprosty. Tonight's episode is a simple one, a fun one. No heavy debates, no historical rewrites, no courtroom drama about who should have won. Tonight, we're doing what everyone does the day after the Academy Awards. We're just talking about it. Processing it. The moments, the winners, the surprises, the speeches, the things that made us cheer from the couch, and the things that made us go, well, that was an interesting choice. And I'm not doing it alone. Joining me today is my friend Rudy, who, like me, watched the whole show, probably had a few strong opinions during it, and is now ready to break it all down with the benefit of a good night's sleep and a little perspective. Rudy, we did this last year. Welcome back to the show. It's so good to see you again.
I'm so excited to be invited back for this year. It means that my takes last year weren't hot garbage. And so, I really appreciate the opportunity and I won't let you down.
What did you think about this year's show compared to last year? Were you like, oh, I'm feeling more excited for the Oscars? Or are you like, man, this is my excitement is waning?
I think my excitement has sustained. It's the good. I'm excited. I like the Oscars. And I think I like the Oscars more this time around because it was kind of like, I felt like a lot of things were up in the air, if that makes sense. Like I was like, I could not put my finger on like front runners.
Mm-hmm.
So I was excited to see what would happen.
I do like that. All right. We could talk about what we did first. Last time it was all about the dresses, who wore what tuxedos. None of the tuxedos really stood out for me. You really liked Andrew Garfield last year. I have to say, if there was one man that stood out to me this year, dude, Leo DiCaprio, his look, I was like, good job, man.
So there was a time when Leo was like, in that Titanic phase and he was coming out of it and he had those youthful boy charm, like that look. He's like
the Romeo and Juliet era.
Like forever young. I felt like I was looking at a man. I did write, and I saw like I wasn't the only person who had this take, but I wrote down, where'd he get that mustache from? And then I noticed that Pedro Pascal did not have a mustache. And I was like, okay, he's probably borrowing it. But I liked it. I liked his look. He looked good.
Yeah. I don't know. There wasn't a whole lot of men that stood out to me. Was there another one for you?
I felt, I could be wrong, but I was like, a lot of black, a lot of like I liked Michael B. Jordan's look, classic. It was like that no collar. I think I wore that for a homecoming or a prom one year, but like, and I just liked it just simple, right? And so I liked that. Robert Pattinson, he looked pretty good, like, but he's never really been on my radar as like this heartthrob, but when he was up there with Zendaya, I was like, hey now, what's going on? So I thought he looked sharp.
I don't want to jump over to the women too soon.
Yeah.
But Zendaya.
That new kid, that Hudson Williams. I say new kid. Listen to me. I sound like I've been here for a minute. But once again, I felt like he was like black, like just straight black, like no frills, but it looked sharp.
And I feel like that's just what we got to do. Like go classic. Like there was Conan O'Brien who was switching up his looks every once in a while, and there was a blue coat that he came out in with like the black collar, and I was like, dude, that looks slick right there.
Yeah. I think they got back to like just the simplicity of it. Like, yes, there were some pretty big swings there, but as far as the men go, I felt I didn't really look. I already mentioned Pedro. I could have done without that thing
Well, and here's the thing. Last year, we really liked the brooches. This year, put them away.
But that was, I felt like that looked like a brooch had exploded on his chest. That wasn't like, I felt
It
like,
was
was
like a
it me? I
cloud
felt like it was
flower.
huge.
Yeah, I expected water to come out of it a little bit. Yeah, the brooches weren't doing it for me this year. I felt like those were like the swings and the misses on the men's front. And then the women, like I feel like the women were subtle as well. There wasn't a whole lot of swings and misses on the women front. Funny enough, now that we're talking about it, my family had on E for like the Oscar pre-show.
Hmm.
I don't know which one that you were watching, but as we're watching this, they're showing like the same four people over and over and over again. And finally, 10 minutes before the show, I switch it over to ABC because I'm like, this is the channel it's going to be on. And suddenly we see everybody. And I was like, I don't know what E is doing. And I know I started this being like, we got to be positive, positive, positive. But E's coverage of the red carpet was garbage. Bless their heart. But it was not like they were fawning over the same four people, where like we jumped over and then suddenly you're seeing people like Zendaya and you're seeing Zoe Saldana, who the queen of the box office, with her being in Avatar and her being in the Marvel films, like her box office has to be billions upon billions of dollars, and she is just gorgeous, with her sleek look. Emma Stone, who everybody knows that listens to this podcast, not someone that I regularly put on a pedestal, but her sleek look was amazing. Those are two that stand out in my mind.
I agree. I think I had a moment where I was, feathers were in this year for the ladies, and like Nicole Kidman had kind of like a feathery thing going, but I thought she looked stunning. Yes.
She looked a whole lot happier. I don't want to presume anything, but
Recently single Nicole Kidman.
some people divorce looks good on them, and I think, bless her heart.
Hey, Demi Moore, just the whole thing was feathers, like a subdued peacock, but it was cute. I liked it.
Did you?
And huh?
You liked Debbie Moore's?
Yeah,
Okay.
I liked it. I understand that we are of the same species, but Tiana Taylor,
Mm.
my God, like I don't feel like I would be allowed to stand in the same room as that woman. She is gorgeous, and that dress was, I mean, it was. I feel like only she could pull off that dress.
There
You
was
put,
a moment where I was watching her on the red carpet and she bent down like by the waist.
uh-huh.
Like, no, I'm explaining that wrong. She bent from the knee, like she went down. How the fuck am I explaining this? She
A squat.
A squat, yeah. She
Yeah.
squat down to fan out her own skirt. Something that you would expect, an assistant to do or something,
Hmm.
especially when you are a nominated actress, right?
Hmm.
She did it herself, not wary that she might like split her own dress or anything like that. And it was just one of the most attractive things that I think I've seen on the red carpet, because I was like, oh my gosh, not only does she look stunning, look like she could kick my ass, and then also doing things like not making a plebeian, fix her dress, like
Yeah.
gonna do it herself. Like, dude,
It's that New York in her. It's like she's. I could go on all day about Tiana Taylor. It's she's like one and then 1A for me. And I know it's probably a cop out. It's not really a hot take, but Anne Hathaway looked stunning. And I feel like she always kind of does, but I mean, I just loved everything about what Anne Hathaway had going on last night.
the only time I saw her was on the red carpet, but Danielle Brooks,
Okay, yes.
did you see her on the red carpet?
Yes, yes.
Look her up now, as I see you're about to do. Her skin, I mean, if she ever listens to this episode, flawless. Like, stand back. I don't know what she was doing at the Oscars last night, but
She,
God bless whoever gave her an invite, because she rocked it.
yes. Yes. First off, I love her in Peacemaker. I think and
Hmm.
my my wife was like, "Oh, she's from Orange is the New Black," and I was like, "I don't know anything about that. I know Peacemaker." Yes, I mean, she's glowing. I mean,
Absolutely.
great fit, as the kids say.
And then, of course, all the women in Bridesmaids
Oh my God.
looking spectacular.
I mean, I've been saying this since SNL. Kirsten Wig, my goodness. I mean, gorgeous, funny, weird. I love it.
Kate Hudson, holy fuck.
I mean, so like that's not my style. Like, I mean, there was like kind of a
What do you mean it's
throwback.
not your style?
Well, like her dress. I don't. It felt like two pieces. It felt like a top and then a skirt, just from the shape of it. But Kate Hudson is stunning, so she made everything she was wearing just look stunning. Her and Jesse
Buckley?
Buckley. I almost said Brickell. Sorry, Jesse Buckley. Her dress was a throwback. Like it gave very like 50s like Hepburn. Like it was gorgeous. So yeah, I felt both of those.
And the women in my house did not like the Best Actress winner's dress.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know.
Okay.
I was like, to each their own, I guess.
Oh,
All right, moving on into the building. Conan O'Brien, what did you think?
yeah. I think had anyone else hosted and ran into like jokes not landing, I felt like they wouldn't have been able to handle it and adapt and move on and keep it going without like with minimal awkwardness. I think Conan was perfect because yes, there were some swings and misses, but that's why he's Conan because he's gonna his jokes are kind of gonna be out there, but he knows how to roll with it. He knows to sometimes acknowledge it, okay, and then move on to the next thing. And I feel like I think he did a good job personally. I know I really liked him last year, and there was a lot more ebbs and flows this year, I felt like. But I also don't know if that was a product of him or a product of the production, because I did have some questions about that. What did you think about Conan?
I think that was a very good answer. I don't know if you're being real about it or if you're taking my note at the top of the show of like, hey, we're going to be positive here. Because your answer was like, I don't know if anybody like would have told like if they told as bad of jokes as Conan O'Brien did, if they would have been able to just keep moving on the way that he did. Um,
I, okay, listen. This is a situation where two things can be true. I want to keep it positive. When especially now for some reason, I feel like positivity is necessary.
you gotta have it.
Some of Conan's jokes were fantastic. The everything is going great, which I think was like his second joke of the night after the cold open. Let's rewind a little bit. What were your thoughts on the cold open? Because I kind of liked it a lot.
I liked it too. There was so kind of an overall thought on the clips that they were showing. They gave a lot of spoilers away in the movies with the
Mhm.
clips that they were showing, which I didn't necessarily care for because I think the Oscars are a good way to promote the movies that they are awarding. There was a lot of things that people were like, "Oh, did you see that movie? Should I see that movie?" And then, of course, you're seeing spoilers, Sean Penn die in one battle after another. You're seeing things happen in sentimental value. You're seeing the kids chasing
Yeah, you find out what the children are doing.
right in weapons. So it's like there was a lot of that going on in the show, which I was like, "Ugh, I don't necessarily know about that." But yeah, so I think like the opening scene, like I like that. It was a throwback to kind of like the Billy Crystal days and everything. And I really liked when the run in and the kind of the perception shift when he like walked out to begin the show. I was like,
Hmm.
that's all great. But I remember my nephew was like, "Oh, you don't like Conan O'Brien?" And I was like, "I like him to a point. But then he's going to do something that's like too dumb and too goofy." And then he did that, when if I win an Oscar thing.
Yeah.
And my whole family's watch it. And then my nephew turns to me, he's like that. And I was like that.
The Josh Groban.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I I enjoyed, I think like, the the dad jokes. There were certain things that you knew that you were wondering if he would talk about. What, Timothy Chalamet, you know, uh, crapping on ballet and opera, and then but there were some that were pretty solid, like his F1 joke, and the sequel is called Caps Lock. Oh, that's good. That's just good, clean fun. That got me. And but yes, Conan can go a little too far. I think the perfect dialed in Conan, I like the Casablanca thing that he did with Sterling K. Brown. That made me laugh.
And apparently SNL did something similar recently because when he started going into that, somebody that I was watching with was like, I feel like I just saw this. And then afterwards went, oh, that was so much better than the one that I saw. And I think I saw something on SNL that was similar to it.
Mm,
So it was kind of like a punched up version.
yeah.
But also,
He
you get Sterling K. Brown, and it's probably going to be better than whatever
Sterling
shite.
K. Brown.
Right.
Oh my gosh. How did you feel about him going, I mean, his little jabs at the Netflix guy?
I liked that, but there's one thing that I have to call out anytime it's going to happen. There is a little bit of hypocrisy to some of the bullshit going on. Like there was when he pointed out this is the first time in a long time that there's been no British actors nominated, right? One, I was like, oh shit. Like one, I wouldn't have really kind of realized that, except I just did the episode with Jenna when she
Hmm.
was talking about Julia Roberts, and then she was talking about how like she really believes that British actors are trained a whole lot. I don't know if you listened to the episode. Did you?
Hmm.
With Jenna and like a
Yeah.
Jenna v. Julia Roberts when she
Yeah.
just went ham on her. I don't know your thought, like, but I never like kind of like considered it. But then when he was like, "Oh yeah, this is like the first time in a long time no British actors were nominated," I was like, "Oh shit!" And then he did but they arrest their pedophiles, and
Yeah.
then the Hollywood audience clapped, and I was like, "There's probably some in the audience."
Yeah, I mean, like, I mean, we don't know how far reaching that thing goes in with the checkered past of like all those people, and it's disgusting. Like, yeah. And then I think he commented on it. He was like, "Oh, we're gonna laugh at that." Like he was like something like that, or we're gonna plot like something. It was very funny.
It
But I mean,
was
but that I think that's the magic of him kind of navigating that awkwardness, like where like, yeah, I feel like he was better equipped than most. Like, I couldn't see, and not that they would, like Jimmy Fallon, but that's just throwing a name out. But
But that's like so when you said like the Netflix guy, like everybody's laughing, but it's kind of
yeah,
like, yeah, but you're all working for that
I was
guy.
about to be, how many of y'all did a Netflix movie? Like,
Right? Like you're all kind of the reason why the theaters are going
yeah.
down. Like we're all taking his money. So, but like going now talking about the Timothy Chalamet,
Hmm.
so everybody's talking about how he said one thing. He said one thing that was honest to him about how he viewed opera and ballet, right? Like
Yeah.
and so as I'm watching, now I'm going back outside. As I'm watching the red carpet, it struck me as like Kate Hudson's answering like an innocent question. And these people have to be on. Like we're watching them and people are saying like, "Oh my gosh, who cares? We're watching these people have the time of their lives and rah 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 rah." And it's kind of like one, you're watching these people try to get yes, it's a trophy. It's a stupid little trophy, but it's something that they really, really want, right? It's like it's the coup de grace. It's like it's history making. If they get this trophy, their name is in the history books for all time, right? Like
Yes.
it's written in gold for all time. So yes, it's just a stupid little trophy to most people and rah rah rah, but it is immortality. So imagine that. And imagine having everything you could possibly want except that one thing, and you're so close to it, and you answer a question wrong, and everybody jumps on you, and you're that close, and it's ripped away. Now, imagine the fact that, like, you can answer that one wrong question 10 hours a day for like 3 months leading up to that event, and
Hmm.
the stress that you must be under going up to that event. Like, I look at the people that go crazy under the public eye I look at like the Britney Spearses and the Shia LaBeoufs and the, like anybody that we kind of look at and go, ooh, look at this train ride. Like I want to see this derail and everything like that. And I go, that's almost normal to me. It's almost abnormal, the people that put the cameras on them and live like the Kim Kardashians of the world and like who want that scrutiny and like thrive on it. So I'm on the opposite end. I feel fucking horrible for Timothy Chalamet. Like, I believe that man is allowed to hate opera and ballet, and I feel bad that, like, I feel like, does he deserve it? Like, I'm sure he'll get an Oscar at some point in his life, right? Like, he's very talented. My last episode on this effing podcast, I talked about how I looked for a reason to hate that man for like 7 years. And I was like, he has not misstepped once. And maybe like 2 weeks after that episode came out, he misstepped and the world jumped on him because they were looking for a reason to, like, so I was like, all right, like, I'm not going to jump on him because I don't think that's a big enough, dude, there's bombs going off in the world. That's not a big enough reason. I personally have not attended an opera in my life. Like, I can't fault a man for not, I'm not personally giving money to the opera. I am part of the reason why it's not doing great. So whatever. If he was, and we don't even know, but if he was the front runner and that's what hurt him, that sucks. Sucks to
Yeah,
be him.
it
But
does. I mean, it's hard to feel sympathy for Timothy Chalamet, just because of his current situation. But I do like he's to me he's the cool kid. He's the cool kid that just he's just vibes, bro, as the kids say. And like sometimes you get to really like I feel okay. He is very good at adapting to the situation around him. I've watched him talk about basketball where he's breaking down like screens and pick and rolls, and he has an extensive knowledge of, we've seen him talk about like the craft and everything. And I feel like sometimes like a little bit of the real him comes through where it is just like, I'm the cool kid in school and I don't, I can say this and nothing's going to happen. And yeah, I mean, have those two art forms, are they harder to for the mass populace to find accessible? Yes. I've attended one opera in my life. I've attended a couple of ballet performances in my life. But you didn't have low-hanging fruit. You don't need to pick it out. You don't need to say that. You can just talk about the struggle of other art forms in relation to going to the movie theater, So, yeah, it would be, I agree. If that had anything to do with him, not securing Best Actor, that's pretty messed up. But I mean, hopefully it didn't. And this is just this can be a teachable moment for him moving forward. There's room for everybody at the table.
for sure. Where to go from here?
Let's chat briefly. Conan's opening monologue, it had its moments. And I mean, before they introduced him, did you recognize who was the announcer for the evening?
I did not.
It's I don't know if you've ever seen What We Do in the Shadows. It's an FX show. If you haven't, it's hilarious. So good. It's about vampires living in New Jersey. It's off of it's a spin-off of the movie What We Did in the Shadows with Taika Waititi and Jermaine Clement. And Matt Berry is one of the best comedic actors, and nobody really knows. Like I feel like the people that I interact with, they have no idea who he is. But his voice is so butter. For a second when I first heard it, I said, "Did they get David Attenborough to do this or Richard?" David's Jurassic Park, right? But anyways, his voice is butter, and when when it clicked, I was like, "Oh, this is great. I like this." And I felt it just made me feel good as that was like the introduction for like, the presenters, and that was my tie into presenters. Did you have a favorite presenter set, gimmick, spiel, banter that stood out to you?
Oh my God, why is it so hard? would be my question. Because even I think we talked about this before on this show where I was like, just get people that know each other instead of like people that are like forced together to like emulate chemistry. But then you had Robert Downey Jr.
Chris Evans.
And Chris Evans out there, and that was like even they were like, this is not working, right? And but in the same instance, when they brought Channing Tatum into it out in the audience, like I was like, boom, that worked, you know?
Mhm.
And usually Channing Tatum, bless his heart, the Bridesmaid was my favorite.
Yes.
Though like they can do no wrong. Sigourney Weaver
Oh,
was a pleasure to see, but like even like those jokes, like every joke that they were trying out felt like it was just pinging off of the landing mark. And I don't know, it's one of those things where as a writer, I'm like trying to rewrite in my brain. Like I feel like I'm back in Fourth Wall Productions was a theater company that Rudy and I had when we graduated college in Cleveland, Ohio. And it was a little black box theater. And so afterwards at rehearsal, we would workshop plays. And so that's a little bit of intro into this story. It felt like as a writer, as you guys were actors, we were sitting there trying to figure out how to make things work, right? Like, and so I'm sitting there being like, well, how would I make it work, right? Like, how would if I was writing these jokes, how would we make it work? I don't know how they're failing at making it work. You know, like you have these very talented actors, you
hmm.
have a stage, you probably have a lot of time to figure out how this is all going to go, and yet, you know, it seems like they're like winging, like, oh my gosh. Baby Gragu or whatever, like he can't clap. No, he can't. You know, like, all right, cut to commercial. Like, what's going on here?
Yeah, I feel like, and this will probably be something we'll all be corrected on. Like, can they? I mean, obviously they outsource. They have to outsource it. Like, why can't you find like writers from like some of the best either late night talk shows or best comedy series? Because like ultimately that's the banter. You know, it's the one that people remember. The ones that make you laugh. Of course, there's going to be the people with the message and they want to spread awareness, but I feel like there's the answer's closer than they think, and it made me laugh because one of my favorite presenters was Kumail Nanjiani.
Killed it.
he, and I think he was perfect for it because he plays anxiety. Well, he doesn't play anxiety. He is anxious. He's an anxious dude. And like his face when he was like, "It's a tie. I'm not joking. Everybody calm down." Like I that like a lot of people are angry, like you can't have a tie, blah, 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 even though it's happened.
Right.
But like the way that he handled that was I don't and I haven't seen a lot of love given to him for it because I was like, great. This is not like a Warren Beatty situation. This is not like, it's not like, oh, I misread. It was just like, no, let's lock in. I think he said that too. Lock in. Oh, it was so good. It
Well,
made my heart happy.
he explained exactly what was going to happen too. He's like, so this is what we're going to do. I'm going to read one name and they're going to come up, and then I'm going to read the other name and they're going to come up. Like he knew
Yes.
exactly how it was all going to go down. Now, the producers of what you just brought up, that when they read the wrong name for La La Land to go into Moonlight, they were just on the Awards Chatter podcast, the Hollywood Reporters podcast, and he explained what happened and what went wrong behind the scenes. With that, what Pricewater, the accountants, they have the two envelopes on the side of the stage, right?
Hmm.
Also memorize the winners. When the wrong envelope is read, they're supposed to come out on the stage immediately before the winners get on the stage to say, nope, that was wrong. It's not you guys. Like, read the right envelope. It's Moonlight, before even like the awards are. But the guy was so distracted that he just got to meet Emma Stone because she just won Best Actress that everything went wrong. And La
Isn't
La
that
Land
funny?
was able to like come up and win Best Picture and everything like that
Oh
before they
my
switched off to
God.
Moonlight. So to even give it even more flowers, boom,
Yeah.
he handled that perfectly because I doubt they went over with him like if it's a tie, this is how you break it down. Like, I don't know if he knew the instructions, like if it was written in the envelope or if he just was like, this is what we're going to do, because he masterfully executed that. And then the woman came up and she was like, I think this only happened like 3 times before. I was like, she Googled that at her seat, because that sounded like we're both in the education field. That sounded like a student that
Yeah.
Googled it and then was like, I have the answer, and
Yeah.
it's like, no, bullshit. And then, so here's another thing, and maybe this goes back to your point about Conan O'Brien being able to rectify some of his mistakes. I think he's better as an ad-libber because he comes out the next time. Sean Penn no-showed, right? And
Hmm.
Conan O'Brien's next thing was like, oh my gosh, a tie and a no-show. Humdinger. This is turning into a great show, and I was like, oh man, perfect. Like he's getting the timing down right and everything. I think he is better pulling things out of his ass than he is as a planner.
I would agree, and that's where that improv, like Conan is famous for his improvisational ability, and so when he's allowed to strut, that's when he's going to shine, and the show's going to benefit from it.
You might not be able to answer this, and I might have to cut it. When they were singing I Lied to You
Hmm.
in the Sinners original song,
Yeah.
women crypt walked across the stage
Yes.
with red bandanas on,
Yeah.
dangling.
Hmm.
What was that? Was
That yeah. Typically, crypts are not going to be red. But I mean, maybe it's like I mean, listen, folks, I've been out of the game for a minute. I worked hard to get out of the ghetto. So, but yeah, those colors and that see you don't see walk with red. You see walk with blue. You can see walk with black, but like yeah. So that was interesting. But that I think that whole there was just the performance was so cool because I had to go back and watch it multiple times to catch everything. Like it took the second viewing to realize Buddy Guy was in that performance and Brittany Howard and like that. Oh, don't Misty Copeland, another individual that I know we are of the same we're of the same species, but once again, like I feel like if I ever looked Misty Copeland in the eyes, I would melt like looking at the Ark of the Covenant because she's so gorgeous and I love her so much. But oh, sorry, I digress. But yeah, no, I mean, but once again, like that was a perfect example of like okay, why unique IP is important. Like Sinners was important for a specific reason, and I think that performance alone just kind of demonstrated it. It crossed so many genres: blues, country, like hip hop, R&B. It was I loved it. What did you think of that? Was it how did the fam react to that?
Oh, I mean, we love the blues, and that's what like we disagree on Sinners as a movie.
Hmm.
But my sister Jackie was like, "Oh my gosh, like this is why I love Memphis. I love the blue, like and my movie was just shot in Memphis. Love the blues, love the performance. Both the performances this year were really good. There were 5 songs nominated. I don't.
You only get 2 performances.
Hurts my heart, hurts my empathetic heart. I don't understand. If you're only going to have 2 performances, only nominate 2 songs, like I do. This was one year where I really questioned the arbitrary number of 5 and 10,
Hmm.
like it's you're only having 5 and 10 because that's the number you picked. It's not because there are 5. That's not because there are 10.
Yep.
It should be probably a rating system. Like, if you get so many number one votes, like those are the ones nominated type of
Yeah.
thing. Just because we're getting to a point now where there's long shots that, bless their heart,
Uh,
should not be there.
I mean, I love Diane Warren as evidenced by an unreleased podcast episode about music for film, and Diane Warren nominated again. She wasn't gonna win. Come on, like,
Was that Kesha singing her song?
uh-huh.
I would love to see Kesha. I like Kesha. So, and I mean, Train Dreams was a beautiful film.
Yeah.
That was one where I was like recommending it to people on the night because they're like, "Oh, I didn't see that one." I was like, "Well, it's accessible. It's on Netflix." So,
Look at you doing the work. Look at
trying,
you.
like, goddamn, the Oscars aren't. There was looking through these notes. Did Channing Tatum diss Lady Gaga like absentmindedly when he was talking about Bradley Cooper making non-actors
Art, yeah,
actors?
art for helping non-actors look good.
Yeah,
That did not, I mean, it was a stray, but I don't think he intended it to be a stray. Like, he could have gone
because
a million other places.
she has done a lot of acting.
Yeah, and
She's been in American Horror Story. She did that House of Gucci.
yeah, she was in Guardians. She did a voice in Guardians 3. Like, Lady Gaga has got some chops. And so, like, yeah, I don't think it was he intended it, but, I think he was just kind of riffing.
I was like, damn.
What did
I,
she do?
I know. I was like, I feel like she's not even there.
I bet that's why he did it, because he knew he'd be safe. Talking about like catching an unnecessary stray. How long have they been doing this? Can you figure out how everyone can get equal time to talk, or like just don't mix it up? Like people were trying to be played out and some people talked over it and they were like, "All right, let me lower it down and let them finish." They hyped up Golden like it was like part of the promotions, like Golden was a phenomenon. And then they win and then they don't let them all talk. They play them out. And then they cut to commercial in the it's like I felt like that was unnecessary. Like it's the biggest song of I mean that song ruled my whole summer. I could sing it without a backing track right now just because I've listened to it so much. But I felt like they deserve the opportunity to share their acceptance speech with everybody and not have to go to a commercial.
Correct. My sister, who suffers from anxiety, she had to look away sometimes when they were just yanking the microphone away from people and the commercials. It will be interesting next year when they go to YouTube
Oh, buddy.
to say because one Independent Spirit Awards was on YouTube and one thing
Hmm.
they did was swear. So
Yes.
it'll be interesting to see if they allow the Oscars to swear without,
Hmm.
muting them. But also it'll be interesting to see because it was almost every two awards they cut to commercial for
Hmm.
ABC, which it was almost 4 hours again this
Yeah.
year. And it drags.
Dude.
It drags. And we bitch about it at home, surrounded by loved ones, and my mom's lasagna, right? Like, I can't imagine. There are now somebody had her cell phone in the balcony at this place and looking down, it is like without the lighting and the filters that they use to make the Oscars look really cool to us home audience,
Hmm.
from a cell phone in the balcony, it looks like a school auditorium. Like when Adrian Brody calls Michael B. Jordan's name and points at him, I am reminded of my seventh grade football, like convocation or whatever, where like he was like, and Matthew Sprosty got an interception in one game. And I'm like, yeah, like in the front row. And I get to get my little certificate. Like the seats look uncomfortable. You're in a tuxedo or like a strapless dress for the entire, like for the 4 hours that we're milling about, they're stuck in there. Like, get the hell out of here. It looks mighty painful. And they can absolutely just streamline it a whole lot better. Get these people on like they don't have to have these long ass walks to the microphone. Like, get it popping and get it moving.
How did you watch it? Like, did you just go on network channel 6, like
Yeah,
ABC? Okay.
ABC.
I don't have cable. Cut the cord. Don't want to brag. And I had to dig out an antenna to hook it up to the TV. And that irritated the hell out of me for some reason. Because I'm like, this does not make sense. Yeah, it's on. It was like basically, if you didn't have that, you're behind a paywall. Like Hulu Live TV, YouTube TV. Like, yeah, you can watch it. You're gonna pay for it though. And that made me very angry. And then when you talked about it going to YouTube, I was like, yay. And then I was like, wait a second. Normal people YouTube or YouTube TV YouTube? Like,
I don't know. I can't answer you on that one, but I know I don't have YouTube TV and I was able to watch the Independent Spirit Awards this year.
okay. Well, I hope that's the case because that would make my life so much easier if I just pop it on YouTube and watch it. That made me happy. Let them be free. I bet you get a different show. Here, timestamp it now, people. Like you're gonna have your next year's show. Gloves are gonna be off. They're gonna go for it, and it's gonna make my heart feel really good.
One thing I did question, Will Arnett was like vitriolic against AI for animators. I couldn't tell whether he was doing a bit or he was absolutely like, I am 100% against it. Like, because he seemed really angry. And then he went like, yeah, I got them on my side. And I was
I
like, oh,
I thought he was being, I mean, personally, I thought he was like being sincere because he is a voice actor. And we already know AI can just replicate a voice, no issue. Like it has all it needs to make Will Arnett's voice. And so I thought he was being sincere because he was speaking from a place of like, no, this is an issue in an industry that, I cherish and many other actors cherish. I thought he was going for it, which was, I mean, AI took a lot of shots, almost as many as Timothy Chalamet in Ballet. But yeah,
and I mean, that's a good, like, because even when Avatar won for visual effects, they said 2,200 artists worked on this motion picture, and you're like 2,200 fucking hundred. All right, like that's
yeah,
a lot. That's a lot of jobs. You have to protect those because, as they said 3 years ago during the last strikes, when producers were fiddling with AI at the time, there was a producer, I think I'm not going to name the company, but a company as big as like a DreamWorks or is it Disney or something like that. They were fiddling with it. Like it was an animator. And they're like, man, with AI, we could get rid of like 80% of the animators. And you're like, you're talking about human being. Like, I get that we live in this society and this culture and this world that values profit over people. I get it that that's the world that we live in,
yep.
but we shouldn't.
Oh my.
Like,
Well, I also like there's just we're at this weird point in time, everyone. Everyone feels it. I mean, there was that the AI actress Tilly Norwood and like it's a legit thing that it's a concern that like there are like casting agents like considering an AI actress for parts and it's just a look, tell this to middle school Rudy, and he'll think you're crazy. But like that's where we are. That we kind of got to think about that, and you got to separate. You got to compartmentalize because it can also sound like let's take pity on the beautiful people that make millions of dollars, but it's more about art and creating art that we're protecting, not the yes, the livelihoods of those individuals come along with it, but in the greater sense, the art form is the most important thing that you're trying to protect.
and remind me of this conversation because I think this is more goes along with like my final point of the night of like great art and protecting it. But I do want to move on to the In Memoriam.
Oh, okay. I knew we'd get here.
I have always thought that we should not be clever with it, not change it up. We should just find a way that works and do it the same way every single year. So it's not like, oh, this year was more tragic than it. Like a loss of one human being is as tragic as the loss of any other, right? I think, and maybe it's just me because I love the movie, but I think they found the song. I think the Princess Bride song is the perfect song for the In Memoriam. Keep it from this point forth. That's the song for In Memoriam.
I couldn't agree more. 'Cause
Okay.
I think that's when I started being like, oh my gosh. I knew it was gonna be a tough one. But I think we mentioned this last year where you're like, oh, I completely forgot we lost this person this year. And I knew heading into it, I was like, this is gonna be a tough one. And I was wondering how they were going to navigate it. And when when the music started, I was like, "Oh my God!" And like, yeah, I teared up. It's the perfect song, and I hope somebody hears this that is connected that can help make that just canon from now on. I love the way that they chose to like. I like that Barbara Streisand came out to speak about Robert Redford and gave us a little bit of the way we were, and then I felt like the way they handled Rob Reiner was really great, where there were actors from each of his movies on stage, and that's kind of when I started to like the tear started to fall down the cheek. I felt like that was the way, and Billy Crystal. I loved how he ended it. Boy, did we have fun storming the castle. I was like, absolutely. It was, I overall, I thought that the In Memoriam, it was a little bit, it felt a little bit right in here. Like Val Kilmer, man.
Hmm.
It was one of those ones where I'd known, but when I saw his face, I was like, oh, that's right. It's the worst part, but it's also the most necessary part of the Oscars because it hurts to remember, but there is some catharsis and there is some healing in that, and I thought they did that.
Yeah. And there's Robert Duvall and like
Yeah.
but then there's also the weirdness of like, them like having 5 minute segment or whatever with Diane Keaton. Like it's
Yeah.
kind of like well, you're picking and choosing, so I don't
I
know.
feel, and it's sad because I heard someone talking about it, and I don't know how much they know about the Oscars. They touted themselves an Oscar enthusiast and buff, and they were talking about how even In Memoriam is campaigned, and like it's the families are the ones that they're like, how much time? Yes, are we going to get in the In Memoriam? How much time are we going? Is it going to be? It's just a whew. There's a lot. See, even talking about it
Mm.
now is making me sweat, and I don't want to thinking about it because it was gorgeous. I mean, it was beautiful, and it was sad, which is what it was meant to be.
Right. But overall note, keep Princess Bride. Score.
Can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong. Another hypocritical applause moment was the award speech for Mr. Nobody against Putin. In his acceptance speech, he said, when oligarchs take over our media, and then there was applause in the room, and I wanted to be like, you're helping. Like, you, you guys
There's
have
a
the power.
there's
Like,
some cognitive dissonance going on in the room. Like, yeah.
so
It, oh God.
it's like the people that are like, you guys went to Jeff Bezos's wedding. Like he's the one that bought the Wall Street Journal or the
Hmm.
Washington Post, not the Wall
The
Street Journal,
Washington
the Washington
Post
Post.
and dismantling it. Yeah.
Yeah, like, but you all wanted the invite.
Oh my God.
Y'all wanted a close down Venice, dance the night away. So yeah, the only thing that I, won't bless their heart over is any hypocrisy. And we are so technologically gifted, and I'm so appreciative of the person who was translating for her friend and partner on the stage. But we are able at this point to just put subtitles in the moment for a person to talk in their foreign tongue as they were giving their acceptance speech.
Put it on the screen.
Put it on the screen.
Just
Fuckers, we are able to do this.
yeah. Yeah.
Whoever is out there in Oscar land, figure
Well,
it out.
I feel like they also kind of got to figure out their sound. Was sound bad for you
There,
sometimes?
Melissa McCarthy's microphone was put inside of her neck. That was one of the problems there. I don't know who they didn't sound check that or anything like that, but that was her. That was the problem with Melissa McCarthy's sound was,
Yeah.
I don't, was there another sound cue that was wrong?
Some of the mics were like sounded like tin cans at certain points, and you're like, "Ooh, like we're supposed to be the best of the best at what you're doing. Let's
It's true.
show it up. Let's see it."
Oh, you did talk about Golden being performed. Lively show.
Hmm.
Awesome. Amazing performance. I would say that's probably like where the kids, like you want the kids to be tuning in for. That it played at 10 p.m.
I was
Eastern
about to be
Standard
like,
Time.
my babies were asleep. My daughter would have flipped. She loves that song.
Switch it.
Yes.
They should have did I Lied to You at 10 p.m. Had all the adults waiting for that performance.
Hmm.
Golden should have been the first. I mean, that would have been what? That would probably been like 7:30, maybe 8
Yeah.
o'clock.
Like as much as they pushed the song pre-Oscars too, like come on. What are we doing?
They would
So,
have been that would have been amazing.
yeah. Think of the children next time Oscars. Speaking like so we touched on like presenters and we've kind of dabbled. We've dipped our toes into award winners. A few speeches kind of stuck out to me. I don't know about you. I in my heart, I hope Paul Thomas Anderson knew he was going to win multiple. So like his speech about his kids and why he made one battle after another was like an apology to them. Any type of speech, and Ryan Coogler did it too, like when they talked about the toll it takes on, because it is a glamorous life for us outsiders to be like, oh, you're on movie sets, you're doing such cool things, you're at movie premieres, but like there is a whole other life to that. The other flip side of that coin is that you don't see your family very much, like at certain points. And so I felt like there were a lot more poignant moments where they talked about, like, I know this took a toll. I love you all very much. And that meant a lot to me. Was there a particular speech that stuck out to you?
I think more so, I liked Ryan's energy,
Hmm.
Ryan Coogler's energy. I mean, like, because he's like, I got a lot to say, and he got it all out, man. Like, he
Yeah.
just like whipped through it. I think you made a good point. I personally, I don't, I have not met a set I liked. Like, I personally don't like movies. It's like it is. Um, it, it takes a certain kind of person, I think, to like it. For me, maybe it's my anxiety. It is the quietest, most chill, everything can go wrong at any moment feeling for 18 hours a day. Like I can't get anything done. Like you feel like, oh, you could just go there and write because nobody needs you for like 12 of those hours. And I just feel like at any moment, like I just feel like Miles Teller in Whiplash. Like at any moment, a chair is going to come at my head. Like I don't. It's just so when everybody's talking like this, thank you for sticking by me. There's a reason why Hollywood is rife with divorce lawyers, right? Like, and there's also a reason why everybody's getting married for 2 years at a time because it is, like everybody comes together in these instant families and are just passionate with one another because, like you got 200 people going to battle with one another, right? Like they say all the time that Peter Jackson was the general of Lord of the Rings. And it's just because everybody went to New Zealand and just made magic together. And probably how many babies came out of that trilogy, right? So it's kind of just and that's what's also cool to see when it comes to like the Oscars. Like it was cool to see Tiana Taylor sitting next to Leo DiCaprio. And that might be the last time that they hang out because everybody's gonna go their separate ways at this point. You were family, you're now, I mean, the last time they worked together was probably 8 months ago, and they got to come back together and do these awards and everything, and they go their separate ways. The ballsiest speech, I think, was Javier Bardem. Look, I am interested to see who. I mean, he came out and said "Free Palestine," and I was like, due to that room, I do think, and I wonder. Not a whole lot of politics were said, right? And people are pointing out like it was good because it was like one of the least political nights. You had Kimmel. Kimmel can, he will never not say anything because that's who Kimmel is. But we are deeply tied with another country in our international affairs. And I wonder if that's the reason why it was a very low politic night. I mean, it was aggressively not political for an Oscar night, other than Javier Bardem coming out and saying "Free Palestine," and I was like, Jesus.
That Spaniard don't care. I mean, he got it in over like some applause and like when he said no war and then everyone was clapping and then he snuck it in, Free Palestine. And then everybody was like, "Oh, we're clapping." But I feel like, and I don't know, you made a very interesting point about how we are politically tied to another country currently right now, but like also the tsunami of just shit that keeps crashing into into the United States on a daily basis. It's just like somebody could have said something different and made some political statement that was different from everyone else. I feel like for the entire 4 hours of the show, and it because that's how much we're just dealing with. But Yeah, it was definitely not lost on me the lack of. There have been some Oscars when every speech has been, something political. More power to you. That's your platform. You want to use it that way, absolutely. But yeah, it was. That's
This
why
is the
I'm.
most hated president by Hollywood of all time. Of
Yeah,
all time.
yeah, hands down. There's not
They
like
they
yeah.
didn't say one thing about him.
And wait, I wonder if that's gonna YouTube. I bet you money. I bet we see what like how kind of the administration is affecting what networks can put out,
Oh,
right?
maybe that is it. But like, not one thing.
Yeah.
Kim only went after Melania,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like some, and that conspiracy theory me, of course, I was like, ooh, are they saying shit that they don't want them to hear? And that's why they're like cutting mics and putting them in the floor and cutting to Conan, who's just arms
Yeah.
crossed and staring at like I was like, are we not supposed to hear what they're saying? Like,
Yeah.
but I think they were just thanking their mom and,
Yeah.
they were the little people, so they couldn't go on long when, we've seen it before where Adrian Brody goes long.
Oh my goodness. So
I thought of you.
yeah, when look, and listeners, if you want to just hear some rage, go back to last year's episode and just zero in on Adrian Brody. When he came out, I was like, he better acknowledge the fact that he wouldn't shut up last year. It made me feel icky because it was endearing. I was like, oh, okay, you get it. You were being an idiot. And so like kudos to him. I don't know if it was sincere or if I don't know which one's the real Adrian Brody, the one last night or the one last year.
Well, it could
But
be true.
and I enjoyed that he what's that the Latin his mea culpa, his apology to everyone for being loquacious.
you you like say that word, didn't you?
Yeah, it's the word of the week.
Yeah, you did ask. I did full quote from Paul Thomas Anderson. He said, "Thank you for finding my work worthy of this highest honor." And I was like, "That's a good sentence," you
That's
know.
good. What
Um,
did he say? He said you make a guy work really hard for these. I was like, heck yeah. Well,
which
because he
is
was
true.
what was he 0 for 11 or something up until
Some,
that point?
I mean, and that's a thing. That's a thing, right? Like as I evolve this fucking podcast yet again, it's one of those things about the Oscars. They're always playing catch up, right? And they're gonna do it again. Like anybody that's mad about the Oscars this year because they feel like Ryan Coogler is owed something, you are probably right. And Ryan Coogler will probably get an Oscar because he is owed something. He is not the only one that is owed something. If I disagree with you about the quality of the movie Sinners, it's only because I feel like Jordan Peele is owed something for the movie Get Out. Like, and I'm waiting for Jordan Peele's movie or Oscar for that movie, like, and I feel like that's coming at some a certain point in time. So it's like there is a line of people that are owed something from the Oscars and they need to figure their shit out. And they finally did with Paul Thomas Anderson. And so it wasn't one of those things like my family was like, do you really want Paul Thomas Anderson to win for one battle after another? And I was like, not for one battle after another. No, I think it's his like fourth or fifth best movie, but he's
Yeah.
owed, like event like this man, he might not make a better movie than one battle after another. Like, but
Yeah.
eventually he's gotta get one because he is one of the most consistently good directors that we have. And in the purest sense of the word, Oscars are just that immortality written in gold. It's
Mm.
not, you can't look at it as the movie itself, which we'll get to later on. When Michael B. Jordan won, he gave an appreciation list. He was like, I know the people that came before me. And he named Halle Berry and Denzel Washington and I think Viola Davis. I don't remember like the whole list, but he ended it with Will Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Did that bump you as it bumped me? I was like, could have stopped Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, I feel like he was doing a thing. He had named all. Yeah, I mean, he didn't name Viola Davis.
He didn't name them all. No,
No,
he left
but
people. I mean, I don't think he written down and memorized it or whatnot, but
yeah,
he left some Oscar winners out.
it was definitely off the cuff, and it, I mean, we're not gonna do anything that Will Smith hasn't already done to his reputation. Like it's a blemish. And so I feel like he might have been like throwing out like a little life preserver there because like yeah, he's not here. He used to be here all the time. And yeah, that did it because my ears perked. I went, "Oh, Will Smith," and then he just kind of moved right on. But yeah, he definitely. But you know, he also gave some gratitude to like people in the room. He said who have been like encouraged, you know, who have been championing my career. Like you know, he's a career actor. You know, he started
Hmm.
as a kid. He's like Leo but cooler to me. I think.
Oh
So,
man, Friday Night Lights is top
right.
five one of my shows.
Oh, he broke my heart in Hardball with Keanu Reeves. Oh, anyways, but no, yeah. So his speech resonated. I was like, okay, I didn't have much of an issue with it, but it did. He wasn't gonna squeak that one past us, Will Smith. It's like, okay. Have we talked about? So there's a few. I didn't do a poll this year, unfortunately, but when I saw Frankenstein, I was like, okay, so this is winning the Oscars for makeup and costumes. Like there were a few locks that I was like Golden was a lock. I was like, that's going to be nominated for an Academy Award and it's going to win.
Hmm.
What were your locks of the night that you were like, yep, I knew that.
So great question. Undeniable. Here's the thing. Fuck it. I'll just get to this right now.
Okay.
Jesse Buckley.
Uh-huh.
Did you see Hamnet?
Yeah, I've only seen a little bit of it. Listen, children dying gets me.
Spoiler.
Yeah. Well, spoiler. How old is that story?
It's in the
Like
description, I
like
think.
300 years old.
No, so here's like, and like that's the thing, like Sinners was not for me. I
Mhm.
watched the film three times. I
Yeah.
tried. And Hamnet is not for Hamnet was my number one film of the year. And everybody that I recommended it to came back and was like, "What the fuck did you see in that?" And I was like, I was like, I don't know. I had to go to therapy after it. Like, I don't like that movie wrecked me. And people, but so here, let me explain myself with Hamnet. I was in LA. I like ran away to LA because the tickets were super cheap. I was with my friends and they were like, Hamnet's playing at this theater on Sunset. Let's go. I'm surrounded by women in this theater in Sunset and we're watching this film. And I was like, well, I know the child's going to die. I'm going to be prepared for that. And I was, and I get a little choked up, but I fight it because I'm a man, Rudy. I'm a man and I can fight my emotions in a theater filled with women. And
Repress it.
then there's a fucking part at the end, Rudy, that I was not expecting. And I just went, just let it go. And the floodgates. What does he say in Scrooged?
Yeah.
Like Niagara
Niagara Falls.
Falls. Yeah, like, oh my gosh. I went, like I told you recently, like oh man, plans change, right? Plans
Mhm.
change was written all about one of the first plays that we put up when we moved back to Cleveland after graduating from college was all the inciting incident was about a condom breaking and a pregnancy and da da da. It was I was going back to my 2005, like everything was coming true. I was Shakespeare all over, like I was living my life over again in this theater surrounded by women that were just sniffling and we were all having this cathartic moment together. Dude, Hamnet, bruh, changed my life. All right. So I understand why people had the same emotional reaction to Sinners, but I didn't, right?
Mhm.
Like, I get that. So what was the question?
What was it? What? Locks?
Oh, locks. So I get like, so Jesse Buckley sweeps everything,
Yeah.
undeniable, right? Like, and so here's the problem. Hamnet, I don't think was an undeniable movie. I don't think Sinners was an undeniable movie. I don't think One Battle After Another was an undeniable movie. I do think Jesse Buckley's performance was an undeniable performance. I don't know many awards or movies that we have given out in the past decade that have been undeniable. And I think that's where we stand as a film industry now. Are we putting forth great art as American filmmakers? Are we putting forth things that are undeniable across the board where we as Redditors, as Twitterers, as social medias, like across the board, people were like, Jessie Buckley's got it. Like they would see like the one clip of her like silently screaming over her boy's body and be like, yeah, she's probably locked. Like, I'm not even going to argue that. And this
Hmm.
was like an Oscar race where people were like at each other's throats. You had like the torch bearers, like on one side with sinners and like people just were like fucking bringing up like hundreds of years of hate for movies this year. And yet everybody was like, Jessie Buckley's got it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That Irish woman did it. Like undeniable. So with that, you could see that it's possible that we can agree on something. And I think there's been pockets here and there as far as like the American film industry, but like I think we're losing the battle one after another. And of what we're putting forth. And I think like we really got to focus on that and be like, because as AI is becoming more prolific, as streaming is becoming like more like quantity over quality, as it's getting easier to put content out instead of like making sure that, like you have an 8-week window in the theater and you better put something forth that's going to make your money back. We really have to stop being so damn lazy with our craft and get really good quality back because our audiences, we as audiences are also getting kind of more ridiculous. Like even with the Casablanca thing, like that's us. That's
Hmm.
we are getting more ridiculous as audience members. We're getting we're being two screens. Our attention spans are going to shit. We are getting dumber as audiences. We're getting worse. Like we have to get better
Yeah.
and we have to find that undeniable content again. That was going to be my final thought, but
I mean, that's pretty great. I mean, you're
it's
when you
sad.
think about it, like the movies that in pop culture were like in your face all the time. For me, this is just me. Like one battle after another, Sinners and God, what's that third? Weapons. These were all movies that were like put in your face, like, and Hamnet. I knew what it was about when I heard the title because I was like, oh no, they're not gonna. But that's only because I had to suffer through 4 years of Shakespeare for like my pretty formative years as my frontal lobe was developing. So it's like burned into my brain. And I was like, oh, this is like, I knew that it was, and one, I knew that it was going to be a tough watch for me just because like I can't handle that. The last time Niagara Falls was About Time, that movie, oh, just openly sobbing. I tried to be tough in front of my wife, but I was like, nope, I'm already married to her. We have a child. She's going to see me ugly cry. And it was ugly crying. And I'm like, I know Hamnet's going to make me ugly cry. But it was a movie that like, until like a couple of weeks ago, like it wasn't one that I was seeing like commercials for. I wasn't seeing advertisements for. And like I think you're right. Like we have our attention span, for better or for worse, won't allow us to like slow down and recognize like something that is like just pure art. Like there's a reason that she was a lock because like you watch the performance and as you understand the story, you're like that alone is going to carry so much weight for the actor portraying that character that like you're going to have to give a performance unlike any other. You're going to have to give an Oscar-worthy performance. And that's exactly what happened. I think that it is kind of sad, when you said two screens, we're a two-screen society. Here's one screen, here's another screen, right? I'm doing it right now. I haven't picked up my phone yet, but it's right there. Like, but locking in on something is so important. And it felt like the movie that did the work. Not to say that the other movies didn't do the work, but they had the added benefit of like late night talk shows and we're going to be on all the cool YouTube viral interviewing hot ones and things like that. Like I felt like those movies had that going for them, whereas Hamnet didn't, and it had to rely on the strength of its performances, and that's why Jessie Buckley is taking home the little golden guy. So me talking was like far dumber than what you had to say, but I agree 100% with what you said.
But like the other one, like everybody, visual effects, Avatar,
Hmm.
like that was like a lock for my Oscar pool.
Hmm.
F1 locked in sound, even though I think on the Oscar pre-show I said I think James Cameron got screwed over because Avatar's sound was all, he didn't even get nominated. I'm like, oh, that was fake. He had to make up like, oh, that was fake sound. It's funny that everybody in my Oscar pool picked K-pop Demon Hunters to win animated feature. My students all said Zootopia 2 should have won. Like,
Interesting.
yeah, so that was their thing. But I do think one thing that I'm interested in as far as like an evolution goes is to search for the undeniables. As far as like Oscar wins go or performances or just things that like could never be argued. Like Meryl Streep, Sophia's Choice.
Hmm.
Like nobody's taking that away. And I think Jesse Buckley and Hamnet is like this year's like
There won't
nobody's
be
gonna argue it.
there's not going to be a Take on the Academy episode about that one. Let's just say that.
Even when like because I like to play devil's advocate and when my nephew is like who did I picked Timothy Chalamet to win best actor just because he was the Vegas odds favorite and
Hmm.
my niece picked Michael B. Jordan and she was like, why didn't you like Michael B. Jordan? He played a twin. And I was like, well, then give Michael Keaton 2 Oscars for multiplicity
Listen,
because he played 4 guys. And of
I
course, she
mean,
never heard of that movie, but she
yeah, I
should.
mean, I would have said, well, then Jean-Claude Van Damme deserves one for Double Team. Boom.
Or because he played it 3 times.
Yeah. I think like yeah, I mean Michael B. Jordan was good.
Michael B.
And
Jordan's always good. I mean, he's
that's the thing. There it is. You just said it. He's
yeah.
always good. Like I feel like the same thing can be said for Timothy Chalamet. He's good.
Leo DiCaprio was good.
Yeah. These were and I think that's the thing that like I was excited about watching is like I was like, "Ooh, okay, these are good performances. I'm not going to choose one. I'll be fine with whoever wins in the male actor category." Like everyone I feel like everyone is kind of treating Ethan Hawke as an also ran, but like
He
Ethan
was
Hawke,
fucking amazing in Blue Moon. Did you watch Blue Moon?
I've only seen bits and pieces. So
Oh
like
my
I
God.
had that goal. I was like, I'm gonna watch all of it. And then I realized I was drinking from a fire hose and I was running out of time. Ethan Hawke, I don't know, man. Like I felt like Michael B. Jordan and Timothy Chalamet got to portray like cool characters. And Leo was kind of manic, but like I felt like Ethan Hawke put in the work. Like they had to shrink him, like and like I know that sounds silly, but that does take a toll. Like you have to like really pay attention because you're not operating as someone who is 5'10", 6 feet tall, how 6'12", however tall he is. So like you're not so like that really plays a part into the character development, the performance you give forth. So like I just wanted to say Ethan Hawke so people could recognize that yeah, he was nominated as well and he gave a hell of a performance.
Well, and it was all like theatrical dialogue. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't makeup. It was, like, and when it comes to Leo, like I liked Leo's performance in One Battle After Another more than I liked his performance in The Revenant, which he won for.
Okay,
So
yes. Hmm.
it's just one of those things like you're not these actors that are winning these awards for these performances. It's almost luck that they win the award for the performance that they earn it for. Like we see it time and time again where they're Paul Thomas Anderson, he's winning an award because he deserved it for something far long ago, not necessarily because One Battle After Another is the movie that he deserves it for. Like
Hmm.
this is just piecemealing it together type of thing. The one thing I do want to say though, because Michael B. Jordan brought it up in his speech, and I was like, great. But let's also be honest here that when he's talking about the people that won an Oscar before him, like I stand on the shoulders of these giants and everything like that. I hope people don't look at the African American people that win an Oscar as the greatest African American actors of all time because that's not it, right? Like Michael B. Jordan named people that won an Oscar, but that doesn't negate Samuel L. Jackson's contribution to
Delroy
acting.
Lindo.
Delroy Lindo, Angela Bassett,
Hmm.
right? Like Pam Grier, Ruby, Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah.
Like these Don Cheadle, right? Like,
Don Cheadle. Yeah.
I mean, like there's so many people that are nominated or never nominated that the Oscars, while this is an Oscar show and we're talking about the Oscars and we like to talk about the Oscars and we're all tuning into the Oscars. And yes, it's your immortality and it's your name written in gold. It literally doesn't mean shit when it comes to your talent. It's just luck of the
Hmm.
draw. It's like poker, right? It's 50% talent and 50% luck that you're going to win it because there's a lot of people and a lot of talent out there that are never going to win it. And that's
And
just sad.
I mean, and it's, I think we had this conversation a couple of weeks ago where you realize how much happens just to get nominated. Like,
Hmm.
like I think the curtain has been pulled back. Like there are campaigns for movies, performances, like there's a lot of work that goes in. And then there's some beautiful work that doesn't have that juggernaut behind of a campaign to support them so more people see it. And like, and there will be some people that assume those are the greatest actors of that generation, but that's not the case at all. And I think that it's while Michael B. Jordan recognized the winners that had came before him, I felt like he's not an individual that would it not recognize that it's so much more than that. Like
Right.
there's just like you could go down the we could do this all day, buddy. We could do this all day with actors that have given amazing performances and did not get a nomination. So,
Well, I don't even want to do just actors. So I got a list of, they made history with Autumn Arkapaw
yeah,
winning she's the first women cinematographer to
got it.
win for Sinners. Ellen Kuras was the cinematographer for Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Should have won. Could have won,
Right?
right? Maurice Alberti was the cinematographer for Creed, if you
Oh gosh.
remember, right?
Yeah.
That or The Wrestler.
Hmm.
Reed Moreno for Meadowland, Natasha Breyer for Honey Boy, Mandy Walker for Hidden Figures. She was also Oscar nominated for Elvis, which just was in 2022.
Yeah.
Rachel Morrison was Black Panther or Mudbound. Charlotte Bruce Christensen for Fences or A Quiet Place. I mean, like, so there have been women cinematographers out there. They have not been awarded. That's just a quiet sampling.
Hmm.
But it's great that we were just talking about it before, but the Bannister effect is a scientific theory where it just takes one person to break the ceiling and then it's just going to be a floodgate. And I think now that we have had Autumn break the glass ceiling, that we are going to be awarding more and more women cinematographers for the Oscar.
I mean, that's the hope. I mean, you always hope that when there is growth, that growth can continue, and you don't hope that it's just like a backslide. What was it? I could be completely way off base, but then Catherine Bigelow was nominated for director, and then the very next year it was all men again. Like
Mm,
so I mean, I loved. I'm not even gonna try her whole name because I don't need to be clipped. But I love that she had women stand up.
mm.
It's like everyone stand up because I feel like I'm here because of everything that you're doing. Like just being a woman in the industry, making art in the industry, I'm able to be up here because that work and the art does not stop. So I love that part of her speech. What were your thoughts on Sean Penn joining a pretty prestigious group of, multi-time? This is his third Oscar, and he did not show up. And people were speculating left and right as to why he did not show up. But what were your thoughts on him?
Bless his heart. Bless his
Bless
heart.
his heart.
So, yeah, Sean Penn is actually the reason why my niece won the Academy Award pool because he was kind of a long shot with
Hmm.
Vegas odds, and she picked him to win, and she got 20 points right off the bat with that, and she never looked back and ended up winning. He's also the reason why I have heard in my inner circle that he is a very pleasant man in real life because I was thinking I was having a private conversation and saying I would not pick him. I mean, I was a huge Delroy Lindo fan since Cider House Rules, since Congo, since
Hmm.
Ransom. You know, this man was on my radar in the 90s. And for him to be nominated, I was like, yes, he's got to get his flowers. This is going to be amazing. I wanted Delroy Lindo on the stage so bad. And Sean Penn, I just wasn't a fan. And so I was having a private conversation with apparently one of his friends who told me he's a really nice guy and I should keep my trap shut. And I was like, oh, well, then let me cancel one of my season 7 episodes where we were going to go after his win for Milk, which we are not going to do anymore because apparently Sean Penn is a really nice man. Why he did not show up to the Oscars, I don't know, but bless his heart, he's a really nice man, according to his inner circle who defends him privately. And that's all. That's all. What do you think?
I wanted Delroy to win because I like that I use his first name. When my first real acting job out of college was with Great Lakes Theater and second largest performing arts center in the country. And as you parked in the garage and you walked into Playhouse Square in the theater there, the first face you see was Delroy Lindo in his performance of Othello with Great Lakes Theater Festival named at that time.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And he has always been he's been one of those actors for me who he does a disservice to other actors because he makes it look so effortless. Like effortless. And I'll give you stupid movies. Like you mentioned Congo, which I don't think is stupid. But Gone in 60 Seconds, I was like, he's versatile. He can do everything. I was pulling for him so hard just because I don't know him. I don't know anybody that knows him, but he was the picture of classic acting, being a classically trained theater major. And like you're going in, you're going to tackle Shakespeare, which is very hard, right? Not everyone can do it. And his face was stamped in my brain for 2.5 years living in Cleveland. He was the epitome of what like good acting meant, just for me. This is all my opinion. So I really wanted him to win. I agree. I was not pulling for Sean Penn. I don't think he should have won for Milk, but that's just me. I was a prisoner of the moment. I thought The Wrestler and Mickey Rourke, for all of his eccentricities, I was like, oh, this is a really great performance. He deserves it. And then, I understand. But I don't know him. Obviously, he seems like the type of guy that stumbled into acting and still tried to be a normal person, and it's really hard to do that effectively because if you could go too far and just come off as an asshole or pretentious. I don't know. He cares deeply about a lot of things, social justice, regular justice. Like he telling the president of Ukraine that he would melt down. He gave an Oscar to the president of Ukraine and said that if he could, he'd melt it down for bullets to donate to the war effort. Noble. I mean, I love that he's, among this rarefied air. It's still Daniel Day-Lewis above everybody because he's best actor. He has 3 of them. And I think Sean Penn has 2 supporting, 1 best actor, I believe. So good for him. Bless his heart. It's not his jam to show up to things like that. Totally understand that. No one says you have to show up for awards. I'm not saying that's indicative of how he feels about it. I'm not saying that like he clearly doesn't care about it because he wasn't there. But, Delroy was there. Could easily given it to him. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I don't think that's how it works.
But speaking of someone who I was excited to see win an Oscar, Amy Madigan. I've loved her since Streets of Fire, which is an insane 80s rock opera with Michael Pena and Willem Dafoe. And then she was in Field of Dreams, and I love Field of Dreams. So I was very excited to see her get her flowers, just, for a career of work. Weapons was a tough watch. It's because I don't like scary. Hot take here, spoiler alert, Rudy don't do scary movies. I don't, even if you're like, it wasn't scary. I don't do jump scares. I don't do that. That's not me. So
Because you didn't see Sinners either, right?
I've seen bits and pieces of Sinner because
You
like I can't do it, dude. I
you could
can't.
watch the first half of it
Yeah, well, that's as far as I've got.
because the first half is like House Party,
Yeah, it's just like a kid and play. It's like, yeah,
House Party, Jim
yeah.
Crow era. Um,
But no, yeah, and so like I definitely I was excited for her to win, and you could tell by her speech it was not prepared. It was kind of just like, oh, this is so cool, you know. I was happy for her.
she took Teyana Taylor's.
Yeah, so here's the thing with you can't have it all. Okay? You can't be goddess like gorgeous and win Oscars. I'm sorry, I'm joking. I
So
know.
when you watch the first half of Sinners,
Hmm.
Wunmi Mosaku
She,
steals the show.
dude, she's amazing. Like she's a fantastic. I was introduced to her in the Loki series, and even from that, I was like, "Oh my goodness, she's fantastic."
She has my favorite scene in Sinners in the first half, and
Mm-hmm.
between her and like Michael Jordan, they have
Hmm.
this like scene between them two, and like I think it's a kitchen, it's like the restaurant or something like that, and it's like they like it's all they end up making love in the
Hmm.
scene, and what I was like, I've never seen this before. This whole movie, it didn't grab me or anything, but like that scene between them, I was like,
Hmm.
this is it's like the beginning of Inglorious Bastards. Like that's expert filmmaking right there. It's the best I think that Ryan Coogler did in the whole movie.
Because I think it strips down.
Raw emotion.
It's just two people.
Right.
Like,
So
and that sounds really stupid. I know you're probably listening. You're like, oh, really? Of course, two people. Wow, this guy's a genius. No, but like when you see it, that's where you're like, you don't need anything else because it's hard to say because it's not everyone can do it. You can't be on stage. You can't be on stage. Listen to me. You can't be on stage. You can't be on screen with somebody else, and you can quickly see ooh, someone's deficient to the other. You know, they're not equal, but like, oh my gosh, that scene when it's just the two of them. Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
there's a reason why like Sinners got so many nominations,
Yeah, absolutely.
especially for performances. But yeah, it also I knew it was going to happen. So that's another thing when it comes to the Oscars.
Hmm.
They're good at getting viewers. There's a lot of people that tuned into the Oscars this year because Sinners was the most nominated film of all time. But
Hmm.
now it also holds a bad record. It is the film that has lost the most Oscars of all time.
It
And it didn't do itself any favors because what is the second most film that has lost the most amount of Oscars of all time?
what is it?
The Color Purple.
Oh shit. Oh wow. Did not see that. And you know, it was
And The
odd.
Turning Point, which I don't know what The Turning Point is.
There was never, it was never going to win. It wasn't going to be a sweep. That was unrealistic.
No, and
I,
people are like, if it doesn't win 15 awards, you know why. And it's
oh
like,
my,
well, your expectations are a little, the turning point is forced to give up ballet.
man. Do you think? I mean, I bet he's gonna carry that with him for a minute. Like he's gonna,
Timothy Chalamet?
yeah. Like that's gonna be something. That's gonna be his Chris Rock slap for a little bit.
Yeah. He was, if you think about that Oscar ceremony, Will Smith's name was spoken in more higher regard than Timothy Chalamet's.
It's very, yeah. He was the butt of a joke. He was the whole night. He was the butt of a joke.
Literal butt
Yeah.
on stage
Yeah. Ah.
being clapped by ping pong paddles. Like
Ah.
when artists don't like you, they are mean. Like
I mean,
when
yeah.
the school of theater doesn't like you,
Yeah.
bro, like the hazing, the bullying from school of theater kids is that's horrible.
Theater kids are petty, like expert petty. So like, yeah, that's
Like they have files of how they got bullied. They just like,
that's the shit they use to channel performances, and now they can unleash it on some. some
yeah, I don't you got anything else?
I
That
am
was that was the Oscars 2026 for me.
I am cashed out. I'm excited. Well, I'm excited to see what the Ludwig guy for best score because this is his third Academy Award. He won for Black Panther 2 and then Oppenheimer. I thought he was I was like, this dude looks young. He's 41. And so then I was like, I did this is the research I did. How old was John Williams when he won his third? And he was like 51.
Mm.
So like, I mean, this dude has got some bona fides. He's a three-time Oscar winner, and I mean, we did talk about how like Ryan Coogler is going to get his like flowers eventually for Best Director, and like clearly Ryan Coogler loves him. So like, I'm excited to see what this guy does in the future, and I can't believe I'm saying that. You tell 20-year-old Rudy that he's going to be commenting. He's excited to see what the best score winner has in the future. I would say that you're lying, but no, I was excited for that. Other than that, I think that's the only note that I have that I didn't talk about out of my multiple pages of notes. But I was nervous for the Oscars this year, just given with everything going on, what was going to happen. I think there was a joke on SNL about how like last week the government notified that like the West Coast is targets in retaliation, and then the Oscars were coming up. I was like, oh my gosh, just in the climate we live in. But it gave me the moments I needed where I was like, that's Hollywood. You know, those cliche moments where you're like, yeah, that's the magic of movies right there. And it also gave the cringe-worthy moments where your sister had to look away because they were playing them off. But I was happy with the Oscars 2026. How about you?
Yeah, I think I was too. Like it was, I was very. We will get into it, but maybe not season 7. I gotta, season 7 is kind of like a cleanup season because we did 2 seasons in 2025. So there's some friends I want to introduce my listeners to that I met along the way. We got a history episode coming at you this year, but it's going to be a very slight season as we figure things out. There are frustrations when it comes to the Academy, and I think it's just how they have designed their nomination process. And it was with Sinners being the most nominated film of all time. I'm not saying it doesn't necessarily deserve it. It's necessarily the fact, and I've said it since I started this podcast, they don't nominate a whole lot of movies. And I think it's because of how they are designed.
Mm-hmm.
They don't give their people enough time to nominate movies, to see movies, right? They also have 11,000 people that we don't necessarily know if they're movie cinephiles or experts. They just go, well, they're people in the business. I want what I want. I want a better Academy. I want a better system. I want a better nomination process. I want more movies to be championed. And I want better movies that are undeniable, that people go, I can't argue with that, right? And I want more movies that don't just fall into the ether. I don't know anybody that has watched Oppenheimer in the last year. Like, and probably should, considering the fact that it's on the horizon again. Like we should be talking about Oppenheimer. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not.
No,
That's a sour note to end on.
I feel like no, I feel like they're getting there. Like there was a time in my life where I was like, I want the Oscars to be more like the MTV Movie Awards. And then I was like, oh well, that's probably the naivete of youth, the ignorance of youth, that I'm like, oh, that's how award shows should be. But art is very important. How it is made is super important, and the messages that are trying to be conveyed through art are pretty much like I don't want to get super hyperbolic, but okay. So this is I might lose a few people. In 2016, in November of 2016, I was a lot of people were super depressed about where we were heading. But in my head, I was like, but I bet there's going to be some great art made. I bet I'm excited to see what some of the best artists in the world will be able to produce out of this. And I feel like we're kind of at that point again where it's like, what kind of art is going to be made? And how can we make sure that art is not seen but protected in a sense? So I feel like the Academy Awards are getting to a place, and yeah, I know like it's like too many nominations. Had F1 not been nominated for Best Picture, would I have like gone, oh, F1 should have been no, I wouldn't have. But that's easily something that, yeah, it's recognizable. There's sound design, absolutely, 100%. Is there something else that could have gone in its place for Best Picture? And what did we not see? What did not get amplified out to the culture because F1 had taken its spot? So I think they're getting there. It's not going to be perfect, but I think that as long as we continue to recognize that there is improvements to be made, I think we're on the right path.
And I think what people were saying on that front, people were championing a lot of, because Sinners was original, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not based on IP. One Battle After Another, not based on IP. Weapons, not based on IP. Like they were coming up with all this, that these were original works, and look how well they did at the box office and everything like that. But here's the thing. One Battle After Another, Paul Thomas Anderson. Mm-hmm. Sinners, Ryan Coogler, right? Like the reason why these weren't based off IP is because you trusted talented directors to give it to you. So go find these talented people, the next talented people, the Safdie brothers, right? With Marty Supreme, like go find the next talented people out there, saturate the industry with talent. Find these people in the colleges and the universities. We need more and more talent to give us original pieces. We got to go back to the heyday of the 90s and find the next Quentin Tarantinos and find the next Martin Scorsese's and find, like, we need all of these to happen so then I can get 30 films nominated for the Academy Awards and be like, I can't even watch it. There's so many, and then it's, then there's too much and it's overwhelming and my heart is full and I don't have a podcast anymore. Like 2026, a new film year, and Rudy, I want to thank you so much for coming on another year. Of course, you were invited back for 2027. I love your takes. Whether your favorite won or not, I hope you gained something from this episode. I hope you realize that, yeah, they're silly little trophies, but the fact that they were nominated, even the fact that they were nominated is now etched in history forever. So, Rudy, just once again, thank you for coming on and talking the night through with me. This will be etched in history forever.
Oh, thank you. I'm the most nervous. I tell you this all the time. I'm the most nervous when I'm ever allowed to be a part of an episode here, because I feel like this is the land of intelligent people, and I'm treading water. But no, I'm so excited. I love movies. I love the Oscars. I love you. So like, this is perfect.
Well, thank you, and thank you to everyone listening. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure to follow the show. Like I said, this is going to be kind of a little scattered of a season 7, but we're going to keep the conversation going, because if there's one thing film lovers are good at, it's talking about things that have to do with great film and the Oscars. So I'm Matt Sprosty, and this has been a Take on the Academy. Until next time, keep watching the movies, because like Sinners, it could come out in the spring, and we'll be talking about it in the winter. Till next time.